Happy Liberation Day to all of you Ugandans. Welcome aboard this Friday edition of Uctv News. I am Sunday Gloria Aboch. The 38th Liberation Day celebrations have been marked at St. John Wakitaka Secondary School grounds under the theme Building a Uganda That We All Cherish. These are the highlights. Take a look.
Parade participants, as you had the parade commander from the UPDF, the police, the Uganda Prison Service, and
gentlemen, as my colleague had said, this year we shall have a housing center carried out for the 9th of May. We encourage you to pass as we congratulate His Excellency the President and all of us Ugandans for hosting the biggest summits back to back. The non-aligned movement, the G7 plus China, and in the sideline Uganda. For some of us who may need to know what the NAMA is, this is the non-aligned movement which includes 53 countries from Africa, 26 countries from America, 36 countries from Asia, 2 from Europe, and 3 from Oceania. So that I want to know representation and of course, NAM commitment global unity and collaboration, fostering a collective development and community across the country. We congratulate ourselves because we are able to achieve the following very peaceful by hosting this summit. Very many people came to see and love Uganda, and henceforth have done our ambassadors in their country. 2 is international visitation. Sometimes not all of us are thinking to read maps and understand the world around us. It is such a comprehensive understanding that bring our country to the right path. And if you notice all the news, global, focused on Uganda for almost the whole week. Economic boost, whenever man moves, money is in the pocket. Our service providers in different categories, our experts in different areas, all benefit and the economy is mine because of people. We are proud that trade and investment opportunities we are brought to the table. And it is from this that we project the progress of our economy, answering our national strategy of economic transformation of Uganda. Of course, the government is
And in his speech during the 38th Liberation Day celebrations, President Yoweri Museveni highlighted the plight of school-going children who have been sent away from school for failure to pay school fees. He warned school administrators, parents and teachers associations against asking parents with children in UPE schools for school fees and sought for public's support in stopping the practice.
Banateri kubonanga lege muri kubaba soga n'enduru akazira akebusoga kemubemo kubeko nze kankubeko
omuntu mulamoji bwatyo bwachamusa abantu. Now the third one
ekyokusatu
is health.
kigemagana n'ebyobulamu.
It seems there is some issue also with the Amadagara Marwadro.
Owekitiibwa President alikoba nti waliwo ensonga n'amadagala ya babanga wolikoba waliwo ensonga egemagana n'eddagala okuba mu malwaliro gaife.
But that one also we are going to check.
Owekitiibwa President alikoba ati ekyo kyona ajja kikekingako oba ajja kirondoola abone lwaki.
That group told me about the Marwadro and some issue of the drugs.
Era abantu abo ababayirenyenga bakobye President bamukobera ebigemagana n'amalwaliro n'eddagala mu malwaliro.
So it is easy to find out who is doing what in the villages. Now the other issue is peace.
Ekiraku ne okuba nga tuba n'emirembe.
That one we are working on. The army is involved. I'm always directly involved. That one is moving well.
Era ekyo ndowooza twena tukiikirira abana Uganda tukiikiriza nti okuba n'emirembe amagye gaife galikola bulungi ate baba amagye poliisi gafuuka gabana Uganda ga bulido tinigalege twaboneranga mu motoka abantu bagatya gano oba nijeno yaba otitijeno olw'okuba wagata mu discipline webale baba abasoga bakulage okwebasako ekyo.
In spite of the bad situation in Congo, in Somalia, in South Sudan, and the infiltrations which we get from there once in a while, the Uganda is very peaceful.
Akobye ng'otwaire ku embeera edindi ediri mu nsi editulira inaine nga South Sudan mu Congo edidawo olumu n'olumu aye okutwalira ewalala tuyinza okuba nti mu mbeera ey'obutebenkevu tuli bulungi ino.
Now then the next issue of the masses are the jobs for the young people.
President akobye nga tutoirako ebyo byonna byo twakabala ekintu ekindi ekigemaku ate nga kigemaku buli muntu wa bulido n'okuboneka nti abavubuka n'abana Uganda bafune emirimu n'ensonga ey'emirimu.
And on one of the speeches I told you that if you adopt the method of commercial agriculture on a small scale, like the model of Mr. Nyakana in Fort Portal.
Owekitiibwa President alikoba nti lumu we yali alikwogera yatukobaku ati ngoli tukoopa enima ey'okuboneka nti tokolerera kida kyonka aye olima ebyo by'otundaku ekyo oboneraku atuwayireku nga onakanya okuzwa omufotofoto eyo mu western
olima olunda byotundaku ate birimu ekibalo
olikuwulira nga olima watundaku ate ng'otayiremu ekibalo
olima n'okulunda byonna wamu
n'okwaya okulima n'okwaya byonna ate ng'obitayiremu ekibalo.
You can, like Nyakana in Fort Portal, is employing 10 people.
Omukulu Nyakana okuva mu Western e Fort Portal yawa emirimu abantu nga 10.
Now we have got like 9 million families in Uganda.
Mu Uganda tuyinanga families oba amayumba oba amaka nge emiliyoni 9.
Let's say the ones in the villages are 7 million.
Singa tukoba nti amaka ago agali mu byalo singa gaba emiliyoni nga 7.
And most of them have land.
Atenga bona baine eitaka.
If each one employs 10 people,
singa emiliyoni edo omusanvu ediri mu byalo singa buli family oba maka singa gawe emirimu abantu nga 10,
we shall have 70 million jobs, more than the population of Uganda.
Tuba nga tuyina emirimu emiliyoni 7 okusinga ku obungi obw'abantu abali mu Uganda.
We shall have to import workers from other countries.
Era kinaba kisaba nti tufune ku abakozi okuva mu nsi edindi edituliraine ni mu nsi yona.
And it has happened before, because when the British introduced coffee here and cotton, we didn't have enough workers.
Owekitiibwa President alikoba nti kyaliwo abakulembeze bale abaida abazungu nga bakaidanga muno webaleeta emwani titwalina bantu basobola kola abamalayo mu Uganda baali batono kyekitegeeza kyali kwogeraku nti tikibangawoku kisoboka okubaawo
ebikadho people to work in the bikadho we are to get people from Rwanda, from Burundi, to come and work in the sugar cane, to come and work in the coffee, in the cotton.
Owekitiibwa President alikoba ati abantu twafunanga abantu kuva mu Rwanda kuva mu Burundi okuyida okola mu masamba gaife ag'ebikaado n'amasamba gaife agapamba n'ag'emwani.
Now those are the 5 points which can concern most the wananchi.
Edo n'ensonga 5 edigema ku muntu owa bulido.
Free education,
okuba nga abantu abaana basomerera bwerere,
wealth creation in the homes with the kibalo,
obukombe mu maka ate ng'otayiremu ekibalo,
health, stopping the stealing of drugs in hospitals,
ekigamagana n'obulamu nga abasawu oba abantu abakola mu malwaliro balekera okuyiba eddagala lyaife mu malwaliro.
And those who say health issues can't be done properly are wrong.
N'ababakoba ati ebyobulamu tibisobola kolebwa bulungi bona baba bakyamu
because immunization is moving very well. Immunization okugema
olw'okuba nti okugema ate baba ninze nkulira immunization forum mu parliament ya Uganda, so ogema kokuli kujja mu maiso bulungi.
It's doing well.
Baba kyalikoba nti abaana webagema wetwali ere emyaka gire egy'ekinaana nga President Museveni akaali kwida mu buyinza abantu balinga balema, polio yafuukanga polio, endwaire dino edekuluzima. Ayi baba olwaide ati polio okugema abaana endwaire edo bikoze bulungi ate tena nkisemba kuba ninze chairperson wa immunization forum mu parliament ya Uganda.
Omulamu oje akoze bulungi, akoze speech ye
baba nsonia
ebyokutafuta aviireku n'ayogera ebibye aye ebyomulamu ogi bikwatagana n'ebyange n'olwekyo mpagira omulamu ogi kyakobye nanze nakyenkoba.
Oh, baba tweyanziza.
As he was saying, some of the diseases have disappeared.
Nga president wakobye endwaire dindi dabulawo.
Polio disappeared, measles disappeared.
Polio yabulawo. Olunkusense lwabulawo.
We are now telling the young girls about the kokoro, the cancer of the uterus.
Sawe no president yaliko bantu government eribanga ekobera abaana abato abaisuka abawala okundwairo ya cancer owana baana.
All those are doing very well.
Awona birikola bulungi.
So if vaccination can do well, why can't treatment do well? The problem is only in stealing drugs. I think vaccines are very difficult to steal. Because it needs cold storage and so on. So therefore, we shall have to get a solution for the the treatment side, the curative side of health care.
N'olwekyo president alikuwa nti waida kubawo enkola okufuna okuboneka eidagala okulinogera eidagala abo abayiba okuboneka nti obwidandabi bubaawo bulungi mu malwaliro.
Now the other issue is peace and then jobs. This is for the wananchi.
Kino ensonga eyindi n'ebyemirimu n'okuba nti tuli mu idembe.
Now on the issue of the roads,
president alikoba ati ku nsonga egemagana n'enguudo.
The roads here in Busoga, there are many roads which we want to do, but we shall start with some major ones which we have been trying to work on for a long time.
Ya owekitiibwa abasoga mu kuba mu ngalo akobera ate ebigemagana n'enguudo wano mu Busoga waliwo enguudo egirina okolebwaku aye twaba atandika n'ejo egisinga obunene ng'okuzwa okwambaka otyembulamu ti baba olwo nga lunene.
Kata omuwulire atandise okwogera ebibye. Now, the one I have in my head is the one from Ginger Bridge, Budondo, Mburamuti, Kamuli.
O president oluguudo olumuli omumutwe nirokuzwa okulutindo obita kwamba koti Budondo Butagaya Matumu oyabe Mburamuti paka Kamuli paka Bukungu.
Now that road we have been putting on companies, but it will be done. You can be sure it will be done.
Nti oluguudo olwo babaire batandikangawo abajo olukola kampani aye era luyida akolebwa baba webale ino.
And away from that, in a landmark ruling, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, has delivered its ruling on the emergency measures requested by South Africa in its genocide case against Israel over its war on the Gaza Strip. The court said that, among others, that Israel must take steps to prevent acts of genocide in Gaza, but stopped short of ordering a ceasefire. The judges have not ruled on the merits of the genocide allegations, which may take years to decide. Since October 7th, Israel's military campaign has killed at least 26,083 people and wounded 64,487 others. According to officials in Gaza, thousands more are missing under the rubble, most of them presumed dead.
Please be seated. The court meets today to deliver in open court its decision on the request for indication of provisional measures submitted by South Africa in the case concerning application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in the Gaza Strip, South Africa versus Israel. Judge Robinson, who duly participated in both the deliberation and the final vote, is, for reasons made known to me, unable to take his seat on the bench today. I would like to welcome the eminent representatives of the Republic of South Africa and the State of Israel who are in the Great Hall of Justice today. In particular, I recognize the presence of Her Excellency, Ms. Naledi Pandor, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa. I recall that on 29 December 2023, South Africa filed in the Registry of the Court an application instituting proceedings against Israel concerning alleged violations in the Gaza Strip of obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, to which I shall refer as the Genocide Convention or the Convention. The application of South Africa contained a request for the indication of provisional measures submitted with reference to Article 41 of the statute and to Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. In accordance with the usual practice, I shall not read the introductory paragraphs of the order which set out the procedural history of the case. I shall also omit or summarize some other paragraphs. I shall therefore begin the reading of the order at paragraph 13. In the order, the Court begins by recalling the immediate context in which the present case came before it. It observes that on 7 October 2023, Hamas and other armed groups present in the Gaza Strip carried out an attack in Israel, killing more than 1,200 persons, injuring thousands, and abducting some 240 people, many of whom continue to be held hostage. Following this attack, Israel launched a large-scale military operation in Gaza by land, air, and sea, which is causing massive civilian casualties, extensive destruction of civilian infrastructure, and the displacement of the overwhelming majority of the population in Gaza. The Court is acutely aware of the extent of the human tragedy that is unfolding in the region and is deeply concerned about the continuing loss of life and human suffering. The ongoing conflict in Gaza has been addressed in the framework of several organs and specialized agencies of the United Nations. In particular, reservations have been adopted by the General Assembly and the Security Council of the United Nations, referring to many aspects of the conflict. The scope of the present case submitted to the Court, however, is limited, as South Africa has instituted these proceedings under the Genocide Convention. The Court then turns to the conditions needed to be fulfilled in order for it to indicate provisional measures. With respect to the question of prima facie jurisdiction, the Court observes that it may indicate provisional measures only if the provisions relied on by the applicant appear prima facie to afford a basis on which its jurisdiction could be founded, but it need not satisfy itself in a definitive manner that it has jurisdiction as regards the merits of the case. In the present case, South Africa seeks to found the jurisdiction of the Court on Article 36, Paragraph 1 of the Statute of the Court and on Article 9 of the Genocide Convention. The Court must therefore first determine whether those provisions prima facie confer upon it jurisdiction to rule on the merits of the case, enabling it, if the other necessary conditions are fulfilled, to indicate provisional measures. Article 9 of the Genocide Convention provides, I quote, "Disputes between the contracting parties relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the present convention, including those relating to the responsibility of a state for genocide or for any of the other acts enumerated in Article 3, shall be submitted to the International Court of Justice at the request of any of the parties to the dispute." End of quote. South Africa and Israel are both parties to the Genocide Convention, and neither of them has entered a reservation to Article 9 or any other provision of the Convention. The Court then recalls that Article 9 of the Genocide Convention makes its jurisdiction conditional on the existence of a dispute relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the Convention. A dispute is a disagreement on a point of law or fact, a conflict of legal views or of interest between parties. In order for a dispute to exist, it must be shown that the claim of one party is positively opposed by the other. The two sides must hold clearly opposite views concerning the question of the performance or non-performance of certain international obligations. To determine whether a dispute exists in the present case, the Court cannot limit itself to noting that one of the parties maintains the Convention applies while the other denies it. Since South Africa has invoked as a basis for the Court's jurisdiction the compromissory clause of the Genocide Convention, the Court must also ascertain at the present stage of the proceedings whether it appears that the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant are capable of falling within the scope of that convention, ratio materiae. The Court recalls that for purposes of deciding whether a dispute existed between the parties at the time of the filing of the application, it takes into account, in particular, any statements or documents exchanged between the parties, as well as any exchanges made in multilateral settings. In so doing, it pays special attention to the author of the statement or document, its intended or actual addressee, and its content. The existence of a dispute is a matter for objective determination by the Court. It is a matter of substance, not a question of form or procedure. The Court notes that South Africa issued public statements in various multilateral and bilateral settings in which it expressed its view that, in light of the nature, scope, and extent of Israel's military operations in Gaza, Israel's actions amounted to violations of its obligations under the Genocide Convention. For instance, at the resumed 10th Emergency Special Session of the United Nations General Assembly on 12 December 2023, at which Israel was represented, the South African representative to the United Nations stated that, I quote, "The events of the past 6 weeks in Gaza have illustrated that Israel is acting contrary to its obligations in terms of the Genocide Convention." End of quote. South Africa recalled this statement in its note verbal of 21 December 2023 to the Embassy of Israel in Pretoria. The Court notes that Israel dismissed any accusation of genocide in the context of the conflict in Gaza in a document published by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs on 6 December 2023, which was subsequently updated and reproduced on the website of the Israel Defense Forces on 15 December 2023 under the title, "The War Against Hamas, Answering Your Most Pressing Questions," stating that, I quote, "The accusation of genocide against Israel is not only wholly unfounded as a matter of fact and law, it is morally repugnant." End of quote. In the document, Israel also stated that, I quote, "The accusation of genocide is not just legally and factually incoherent, it is obscene, and that there was no valid basis in fact or law for the outrageous charge of genocide." End of quote. In light of the foregoing, the Court considers that the parties appear to hold clearly opposite views as to whether certain acts or omissions allegedly committed by Israel in Gaza amount to violations by the latter of its obligations under the Genocide Convention. The Court finds that the aforementioned elements are sufficient at this stage to establish prima facie the existence of a dispute between the parties relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the Genocide Convention. As to whether the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention, the Court recalls that South Africa considers Israel to be responsible for committing genocide in Gaza and for failing to prevent and punish genocidal acts. South Africa contends that Israel has also violated other obligations under the Genocide Convention, including those concerning conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to genocide, attempted genocide, and complicity in genocide. At the present stage of the proceedings, the Court is not required to ascertain whether any violations of Israel's obligations under the Genocide Convention have occurred. Such a finding could only be made by the court at the stage of the examination of the merits of the present case. At the stage of making an order on the request for an indication of provisional measures, the court's task is to establish whether the acts and omissions complained of by the applicant appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Genocide Convention. In the court's view, at least some of the acts and omissions alleged by South Africa to have been committed by Israel in Gaza appear to be capable of falling within the provisions of the Convention. In light of the following, the court concludes that, prima facie, it has jurisdiction pursuant to Article 9 of the Convention to entertain the case.
And now the Gender Is My Agenda campaign youth network has developed comprehensive community engagement and mobilization strategies for effective inclusion of young people in grassroots communities to discuss the African Union theme on education for the 2024 that calls for a youth-led inclusive educational transformation for gender equity and sustainability in Africa requires careful planning and execution. Delegates present at the workshop asked for reforms on the educational system.
I think AU, my recommendation to AU would be to continuously consider inclusiveness, and I would also recommend AU to put more focus on informal education, like vocationally institutions, schools for the disabled, in order for everyone to be on board once it comes to development. We all have to be educated and trained.
And I think and believe that this is a very good intervention that AU has brought to African countries, especially Uganda, because we have a high rate of dropouts that are beginning from P7, let's say primary level, to senior 4 to senior 6. This is because the parents reach a point when they cannot support the children anymore or further at the tertiary levels. So I would love to see scholarships that can elevate children and support them throughout the education system up to when they attain careers. For example, if someone wants to become a doctor, we should not just support them up to Form 4 level to branch into something they didn't want to become, let's say nursing, and at the certificate level. It makes development stagnant or their growth in the education system. Because even those that attain certificates sometimes remain there because they cannot continue up to the degrees they wanted to obtain. Yet we would have a formal system with more educated people, with more knowledge and understanding to support our communities if they attained up to where they wanted to reach.
I urge that AU should, the way should improve on the education system in Africa is by paying teachers very well. You know, if a person lacks money, that person will not teach us all what we need. So our teachers need support, especially in terms of finance. They should always concentrate on these fundraising schools, these schools which are just growing up. And they should be putting schools in these areas which basically need this education, because you find that these other people in up countries, people in ghettos, they have not got good education due to lack of enough schools there and facilities.
As youth, in most cases, we are left behind. People decide for us, the elderly decide for us. Yet, as we, the youth, we say there is nothing for us without us. So this time around,
engaging us here at the community level, it has been great. We've also given our recommendations, and we pray that our recommendations are also applied as youths. We matter, education is for us. We are the tomorrow. If you don't take our ideas or our thoughts, then you are leaving us, the next generation, or the generations that is already here. We the rulers, you are leaving us behind. But if you take on and you keep on engaging us like this one here, as GMAC has done today, engaging us on the African Union theme, this is a great opportunity for us. We are getting to learn. Most of us were not even aware of that theme. But when the question popped up, we had to look around to get the theme.
And that's all we had for you from our local scene. Now it's time to take a look at what makes history today in our segment, Today in History. Thank you for watching UCTV News. It is time to take a break. We'll be back with the Rome reports.
UCTV, good news for all.
Catch incredible stories of resilience, success.
You can manage dirty money
with a topping of inspiration.
Get interested in people, not interested in yourself.
Inspire, achieve, repeat.
You are watching UCTV, good news for all. For this and more, tune into Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Toboka, Ukute, the business show, Propeller, the request show and sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a no car, public address system, live band, Omokekera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773 597 166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasese Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth.
It's unbelievable. Now, companies, businesses, and organizations can make bulk payments easily with Centenary Bank's corporate center SWIFT to anyone without the need of a bank account, anywhere, anytime, just like that. The recipient needs only their funds, national ID, and token number received via SMS to withdraw money from any center agent nearby. The Centenary Bank's corporate center SWIFT is simple, secure, and convenient. You think it's too good to be true? Visit any of our branches countrywide or visit www.centenarybank.co.ug to know more.
Centenary Bank.
Centenary Bank is a member center group regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits of up to 10 million shillings are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Terms and conditions apply.
UCTV, good news for all.
And that's all we had for you this evening. Do stay with us on the Uganda Catholic Television. I am Sunday Gloria Abwatch. Good night.